spot you are. You won a national championship. He won a Heisman, but you guys both did something phenomenal. And he gets the opportunity to cash that in and make NIL, make money, and he's doing that. And he's done really well with it.
Yeah, and I probably couldn't happen to a better guy, to be honest. A guy that can handle that type of money and that type of situation where he doesn't let it get to his head. Players respect him. I think he's done a really good job of including as many guys in his deals as he possibly can and really helping other guys out and landing certain things. But yeah, I can't imagine. They're talking $3.2 million putting up there right now, the valuation, but just signed a deal with Dr. Pepper for Fansville. He'll probably be in the Nissan Heisman house, which will be the first time we've had a current player that won the Heisman be in that house. If he's a part of this commercial, I can't imagine he won't be. I mean, why would they not use him if they can during this NIL stuff? But the money is just unbelievable. I mean, looking at that number, he could actually earn more than both coordinators this year at Alabama, right? I mean, the offensive defensive coordinator out earned by the starting quarterback. That's just amazing where college football's come.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And to be successful, I had a GM one time in sports, a baseball GM, tell me about paying one of the players a big time contract that money doesn't come with instructions, right?
Right.
And basically saying, like, you give somebody a lot of money, how are they going to handle it? The thing about Bryce Young is that I'm sure he's going to handle this like he handles everything else, and that's professionally.
Yeah.
Smart. It really bodes well for Alabama. I mean, compare him to someone else that was a great quarterback that won the Heisman, Johnny Manziel. There's no telling what it would have looked like if Johnny Manziel would have been rolling around with $3.2 million in NIL. That goes to show where Alabama's recruiting is. We're going to talk about recruiting coming up. But Bryce Young seems to be really the perfect fit, not only to run this offense, but also to handle NIL as we kind of dip our feet into it.
Yeah, and you kind of saw it from the beginning. I mean, he signed the car deal. He did a few things last year. And I think Coach Saban, because I know how that first meeting went when they talked NIL and how he told the players, said, look, choose your groups of people that you want to work with. Choose it wisely. Don't just take on, these small little deals thinking I'm going to make $100 here, $50 there, or, whatever. Make sure that you're keeping, number one, your brand intact. Number two, that you do worry about teammates and things like that, that this has got to be something that's a great opportunity, but don't do anything to mess it up with your brand off the field as well as on the field, doing all the right things the way that he talks about all the time, the process. So it doesn't surprise me, number one, that Alabama, with the new collective they've got, High Tide, is going to do High Tide Traditions will be unbelievable. Fans subscribe to that, be a part of that, because it's going to be another huge deal for Alabama to stay ahead and be competitive and stay ahead of everybody else in this game. I think they've got the right approach to it right now as they're moving forward with that, where people can subscribe, even what we call the sidewalk fan, the person that didn't go to Alabama, the fans that Alabama's had for years, not just in Alabama, but now throughout the nation because of just what Coach Saban has done the last 15 years. To be able to have that there, to be able to raise money, to be able to make an impact to where players are able to be collectively paid, that's going to help even out things a lot as far as in the locker room, off the field. And I think, too, Coach Saban has talked about it many times in closed-door meetings and out-of-door meetings, saying, look, I want my football players definitely to get their fair share, but at the same time, I want all athletes. He wants the whole entire university athletic program, all the athletes, Olympic athletes, the girl sports, to be a part of this and to be able to participate in everything going on with NIL.
Is that realistic? I mean, and the reason I say that is the bulk of the money and the interest in athletics is football, right? I mean, look at how all of these athletic departments are funded. It's on the back of football. Maybe places like Kentucky, it's basketball. But is it realistic to think that all these athletes and all these Olympic sports and, other than football will be able to get NIL money? I mean, maybe the best players, but could everybody get a part of that?
It'll be really tough for that to happen, Mick. You're right. I mean, I think it's one that the university's striving for, and at least they're doing that. And we saw when SMU released the collective they have, it's for men's basketball and football. Mm-hmm. And so that did not sit well with a lot of people, especially the politically correct, is saying, look, I want this to be spread apart. Well, it can't be spread fairly, right? So, I mean, you have your economic drivers. You got your sports that are going to be the ones that continue to pull in the donations. And so football is definitely that at Alabama. But you want to be able to support men's basketball, women's basketball,